COVID has triggered something that was coming anyway. We were moving into this fourth industrial revolution, but we're dragging our feet because there was no real trigger to jump all in. And then all of a sudden, COVID said, you will stay at home. And if you want to work and if you want to engage with the world and with your friends and family and keep your kids in education, you're going to have to go online. And all of a sudden, everything that we're doing has made us be online and visible and connected, and it's different for everybody. So there are some people who haven't been able to connect with the world because they don't have access to the technology. And there are some people who have been able to. So the first thing I want to say is that to remain resilient and relevant and go beyond surviving and thriving in this new normal, whatever it's going to look like after COVID, it requires us to show up. We can't show up in person, so we have to find ways to show up online. And opportunities like this webinar are amazing opportunities to show up online, because not only are you showing up within your community and your kind of immediate area of influence, suddenly you can show up internationally. And suddenly you can create a brand for yourself across boundaries that you never even would have considered before. So I think that's the one thing, is if you can, get online, be online, and show up there and position yourself as somebody for people to know. We always used to say, and in my day, we used to say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Now we're saying, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And you have to be standing up and going, hi, this is who I am. This is what I want to be known for. This is how I can serve you. This is how I can bring knowledge to the forefront and stand up and show you that I'm an expert at what I do at the level at which I'm at. Whether you have 3 months experience or 3 years or 30 years is actually irrelevant. You're an expert at where you are right there. And for anybody who's lost their job or is likely to lose their job, because there's going to be lots more job cuts coming, standing up now and starting to show your network that you're a leader is critical. So that's the one thing. And my favorite topic in the world is to talk about LinkedIn, because I spend lots of time there, and it's been a massive opportunity for me to build my network and my relationships and stand up in my personal leadership. And that's a platform that's available to everybody for free. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you need to get onto LinkedIn. You need to make sure that you treat it as basically the equivalent of a conference. We've lost conferences in person, so now we have webinars. But we also have platforms like LinkedIn that run 24/7, 365 around the world with 600 million people on it across every single industry. And it's a free platform for you to have your stand, which is your profile, engage in conversations with anybody who's there posting and sharing information, and to actually stand up and be the keynote speaker, because you can post your own articles, you can post your own content, and if you're missing that opportunity, then you're missing the opportunity right now to position yourself as a leader in your network. Lots of people say to me, but that's going to take hours and hours and hours. I don't have hours. I've got all these other things to do. If you invest 15 minutes 4 times a week, that's an hour. Yeah, that's an hour a week. That's 4 hours a month. By the time you've been doing that consistently for a year, you've invested a lot of time in networking and positioning yourself. And 15 minutes, you're not even going to realize in a day. Whereas when you go to a conference and you invest 3 days or 3 or 4 days at a conference, it's a big ask. And often you come away with less from a conference than you would if you consistently spend a little bit of time every day networking and serving your relationships and feeding into your networks. So the other thing I want to say is, we all went into lockdown, and I saw lots of these messages from people saying, if you come out of lockdown not having learned a new skill, then you have wasted an opportunity. Okay, so we all saw those. And then we started kind of experiencing the emotional kind of, the anxiety and the panic and the fear of suddenly we don't know what this COVID lockdown is like. We're suddenly we've had all of our control taken away from us. Our lives have changed. And that whole thing about if you don't come out of this with a new skill suddenly became an incredibly judgmental statement and an incredibly big ask of a lot of people, especially women who are still trying to work, look after the household, look after their kids, do the homeschooling and all of the other things that we've been talking about. So to tie into what Emerita has said, give yourself a break. If you do anything to build your resilience while we're in lockdown, it's build your resilience to survive. There is more than enough time after lockdown to figure out how to thrive. Okay, so take some time to reflect, get to know yourself, invest in your own self-care, because if you don't have all of those things, nothing else is going to happen. That said, if you are somebody who has been retrenched and you have time on your hands, now is a beautiful opportunity to be developing in your professional development. So aside from building your networks and your relationships and standing up and showing up in your networks and making yourself known as a leader and an expert in your field, take the opportunity to be attending whatever webinars you can find. If you can, be putting yourself up as somebody to be on a panel. The best way to build your network and be known very quickly. Go and look to see what courses are online. Pretty much every single university is suddenly putting all of their courses online. A lot of universities have discounted their short courses. There's a ton of free online learning opportunities at the moment. Whether you come out of it with a certificate or not is actually irrelevant for me right now. Come out of it with having learned a new skill, if you can. And connect what you learn to the competencies that are becoming more and more relevant. And the world that we're going into, the world we already were in before COVID hit, was one where your technical skills, your technological skills, and your EQ, that integration between them, so being able to solve problems through technology in a way that recognizes the diversity of problems from different lenses and different perspectives is critical. And if you can be focusing your energies there, then you are winning. But first and foremost, survive before you start thriving. We've all got different levels of needs at the moment, and as has been said, we're all in different boats. So figure out what boat you're in and have a strategy that's appropriate to that boat. I think that's all I have to say on that topic, although I'd love to speak for hours.